Hey, what is up, everybody? This is your host, John Odermatt. Welcome back to another episode of Pursuit of Freedom right here on the Finding Freedom podcast feed. If it's your first time finding this show, welcome. Great to have you here. Maybe a friend told you to check it out. Maybe another aspiring entrepreneur told you to tune in and see what's going on here with Pursuit of Freedom. Of course, Pursuit of Freedom is the show. How many times can I say Pursuit of Freedom in the first minute? Anyway, on this show, what I'm doing here, why did I start this? A few weeks ago, I was laid off from my corporate job. I already had several side hustles ongoing, and I want to document my journey from having that, locked in salary, getting paid 2 times a month, set to the clock on Friday, to the uncertain future of entrepreneurship. And I wanted to take you all with me on that journey because, I know a lot of people who, have a similar desire to me, that you want to control your time. You want to have more margin in your life, be it for, more margin for more vacations, more time with your family, more flexibility, maybe just wanting to be able to take some time off and really, deep dive into a passion or into a hobby. But I think what's happened with me is it's become apparent that, not to get too much into my story, but for a long time, I was a podcaster focused on pretty much only political things, starting off hyper-focused on the criminal justice system. And as I've evolved over the years, over time, really my passion has evolved into entrepreneurship. And for the reason of it is the way to really ensure your own personal freedom, your own control of your time, your resources, and what you do with them. So ultimately, I'm someone who is a libertarian, a freedom lover, and I think that this way, owning your own business, doing freelance work, controlling your time, controlling where you invest your time is the best way to make an impact. So on today's show, it's going to be hopefully the shortest one. I want to keep this one short. I always say that, never do. But title of this episode is Progress Over Perfection. And I heard a recent episode of the Ed Milet Show, which is an awesome podcast. Ed's a very, very successful entrepreneur. He's a motivational speaker. He's mentored athletes like Tom Brady. This is a guy who knows his stuff. And he had a recent podcast titled Progress, Growth, and Expansion. And he talks about a lot of different themes throughout that podcast. But the one that I want to zero in on is progress over perfection. This is something that I have struggled with my entire life, where I want things to be perfect rather than just getting them done. And perfection can be the enemy of progress, especially when you are trying to really launch into the full-time entrepreneurial world, or the full-time, non-corporate world, where all of the onus to get things done to make income falls on your shoulders. So in order to try to, navigate this, stumbling block in my life, really that's what it's been. It's been a self-imposed obstacle where I will overanalyze analytically in my mind rather than just making a move. And the first step that I took to get better at that was right after I got laid off. I knew that I wanted to throw myself into really researching and putting the time in to understand the ice vending business. That's a business that I want to get involved in. That's a business that I believe has a very, very bright future, and there's almost zero presence here in Pennsylvania where I am. So what I did there is I just knew I had to make calls. I had to meet people. I had to do some research on the different options for ice vending machines out there. And that's what I started immediately the week after being laid off when I was still on vacation. Continued last week. And unfortunately, the guy that I was speaking with the one ice vending machine service is on vacation this week, which is incredibly frustrating. But I'm going to find other ways to make progress. I'm really going to zero in on, I think, looking at locations. And, I am waffling back and forth between where I even want to put this. So I'm looking at really two different areas. One area would be around me outside of Pittsburgh. The other area would be in State College, Pennsylvania, by Penn State University. Capitalize on the college life, capitalize on football games, people using ice. I think that's a great market for it. I think it could be a good market around here. Just has to be the right location, either place. But I think it's even more important. Location is more important. I can't speak today for if I do choose to put one to start with in the Pittsburgh area. There's of course pros and cons to both. Be much closer to it if it's here in Pittsburgh, easier to service, to replenish bags, things of that nature. State College is 2.5 hours away, so that's an obstacle. But things that I'm working through, and I really want to maybe not make a decision this week, but be in a position where I feel like I could make a decision if I had to, because I want to get this nailed down, which machine I'm selecting next week, and be able to go from there. So, and the next step after that would really be locking in the location and visiting the business owners and working that out. So there's just a lot of work to do, and I can get in my own head and impede my own progress. But anyway, so to talk about a couple things that I have going on right now. Of course, I just got back from my fishing trip last weekend, fishing for walleye up in Lake Erie. It was awesome. I caught my limit. You're allowed to catch 6 walleye in a day. One of my other buddies caught his limit. The other 2 were just one below, but we caught a lot of fish, 22 fish in all. I had the 3 largest. I had a 26-inch walleye and 2 25.5-inch walleye. They're awesome fish. I mean, they're huge. I posted some pictures on my social media. If you follow me, if you don't, please do follow me at John Odermatt on Instagram. I did not post on Twitter, but I can do that. That's at John Odermatt. And then on Facebook, if you just search John Odermatt and look for this face, you can find me there. And let me know and send me a message, which some of you have recently, saying that you like this show. You can send me a message, say that you're listening to Pursuit of Freedom, and I'll be sure to give you a follow back or a friend request. The other thing I have going on, I had my podcast yesterday with Dr. Thomas Hemingway, which has been a big hit. If you haven't checked that out, please do. Of course, we got into everything about Ozempic and these other similar GLP-1 agonists, synthetic agonists, and the downside to them, primarily being the muscle loss, which is a very, very bad thing that really can have a causation that you're going to age more quickly, harm your metabolism, lots of not so good outcomes from losing muscle mass. So we got into that and many other things. So make sure to check that out. I'll be posting a lot of clips this week from that podcast. So one more thing I did want to talk about that I am focusing on now is for my to-do lists. I've talked about them a little bit. Kind of can be overwhelming because there's so many moving parts, and I am really trying to get a set focus in each of these areas, which I'm still working on. But one thing that I do want to implement is every day have 3 priorities. Really, another way to say it, 3 things that if I get them done, I'm going to call it a successful day. So for example, today I had finished my resume, work on my Plexus business, and work on my Upwork profile. If I get those 3 things done, I should feel good about today. And by work on, to be more precise, I'm saying 2 hours of work on each of those things, putting the time in. It's important with things like this that it is things you can measure. So finish something is obviously most ideal. If you just say, start working on this, or I need to get better at, having, some sort of measurable milestone so I can actually hold myself accountable to it. But that's something I'm going to focus on. That's something that I got from my dad years ago. My dad's a lawyer, and, you get working on so many different things. If you don't have going into your day at the top of your, he used to do it on a legal pad. I'm doing this in my notes on my computer at the top of your, to-do list, or whatever you want to call it, your plan for the day. If I get these 3 things done, then I've had a successful day, and I haven't been overly distracted by hey, there's a squirrel over there, and going running and chasing that. So that's where I'm at right now. I'll say it again. I appreciate the feedback I've gotten from you all listening to this podcast. It seems like it's resonating with people out there who are looking for a change, who are maybe frustrated with the position you're in. I mean, I'll be honest, I've been frustrated for a long time working in corporate America. There's been jobs that have been better than others. My last job probably was my favorite, honestly, because I did have a lot of control over my day-to-day, pretty much total control, but not ultimate control, because I ended up losing that job. So that's the rub there. And any time that I am still looking at resumes. I did say I would apply for jobs. I do want to keep that. I do want to keep that window open as a mitigation if I need to. So it is something I am going to do. And another reason why is it's good to have those interactions and conversations just from just from a human standpoint, to build confidence. So I think it can serve several different purposes. Plus, it can help me out potentially with, networking and building out contacts for, when I do, have more of a presence in risk management consulting. So that's where I'm at there. And, I said a quick episode, and I can't do it. I can't do an episode in less than 15 minutes. Oh, well, I guess this is going to be like a 15 minute show every day. But thanks for listening. I cannot talk today. Tomorrow I'll be better, I promise. Thanks for listening. And, I'll be back next week. And, I'm going to keep on fighting, guys. And I want you to keep on fighting for what you believe in and for the dreams that you have.